Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever had that feeling like a memory just vanished?
Oh, absolutely. Like trying to grab smoke.
Right.
You know, it was there for a second.
Exactly. And then poof, it's just gone. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where do they actually go?
Do they just cease to exist entirely? Or is there something more? Maybe they stick around somehow.
Right. Could they persist in ways we don't, well, fully get?
That's such a fundamental question, isn't it? About, our own experience and time itself.
Totally. And it leads right into what we're digging into today. We've got this really compelling personal story. It's called Pasted Text.
Okay.
And it tackles this whole idea of forgotten memories, but from a really unique angle. It's about someone looking for, like, a quiet break. Mm-hmm. They end up in this old farmhouse, kind of run down on the edge of this forgotten town, Hollow's End.
Hollow's End. Wow. Even the name sounds evocative, like it's off the map, maybe a bit disconnected.
It does, right. Sets a mood. So the farmhouse is super cheap, which, sometimes that's a sign.
Yeah, either a bargain or something else.
Or something else. And it's described as, worn, broken even, but also strangely familiar.
Familiar? Interesting. Like a deja vu feeling.
Kind of. Like a half-remembered dream, the narrator says. And there's this definite vibe of, sadness, loneliness, sort of clinging to the place.
That combination is key, I think.
Yeah.
Familiarity mixed with decay or sadness. It hints that maybe the narrator has some kind of subconscious link already.
Yeah, before anything even really happens.
Exactly. Something below the surface.
So things are quiet for a bit. Then the seventh night, boom, things get weird.
Okay, seventh night. What happens?
Around 3 a.m, the narrator hears this tapping, soft tapping at the door.
Not like someone urgently knocking.
No, that's the thing. It's described as gentle, almost hesitant. 3 distinct taps.
3 taps. Specific,
yeah.
Deliberate, maybe, not just random noise.
Feels that way.
Yeah.
They go to the door, open it, nobody's there.
Of course.
But on the porch, there's this old envelope, yellowed, and just one word scrawled on it.
Let me guess. Remember.
You got it. Remember. Just that.
Wow. Okay, so that's direct, a command almost, but remember what?
Exactly the question. And what's inside the envelope just deepens the mystery. It's a photo,
okay.
Black and white. It shows the farmhouse, but not empty and sad. It's alive, full of people, a family, it looks like, on the porch, laughing, happy.
A scene from the past, then, captured in time.
Right. But here's the kicker. Standing right there among them is the narrator.
Well, the narrator from the present.
Yep. But older, looks different, maybe worn down, but it's undeniably them.
Whoa, okay, hold on. That changes everything. How is that even possible?
Right, that's the shock. It throws basic logic out the window, questions about identity, about time.
Yeah, is time strictly linear or are there echoes, overlaps, things we don't normally perceive? This photo suggests something else.
Totally. So naturally, the narrator is freaked out, confused. They need answers.
I would be too. What do?
They take the photo into Hollow's End the next day, start showing it around, asking if anyone recognizes the people, the scene, anything.
And the reaction.
It's unsettling. Consistent, too. People just stare blankly at the photo, or they glance at it, get nervous, look away, then silence.
Silence. Nobody knows anything, or nobody's saying anything.
Feels more like the second one, like the whole town is in on some secret, holding its breath. It just ramps up the creepiness factor.
Definitely. Collective silence is almost louder than noise sometimes. It implies a shared knowledge, maybe a shared fear, or just a refusal to engage with that past.
Yeah, it makes the town itself feel like a character, one that's keeping secrets.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a breakthrough, sort of, an encounter at the town bakery.
Okay.
With this old woman. Apparently she's someone the other locals tend to avoid, keep their distance from.
The classic trope of the wise, maybe slightly ostracized elder figure. They often hold the keys.
Seems like it here. She pulls the narrator aside, looks them right in the eye, and gives this warning. Super cryptic.
What'd she say?
She says, "You shouldn't have come here." Then adds, "Some places remember, some places never let go."
Wow. Some places remember. That line, it gives me chills. It personifies the location itself.
It really does. And then, almost like an afterthought, she hits them with this, "You belonged here once."
Once.
Yeah.
So connecting the narrator directly to this place's past, to whatever it is that remembers, that deepens the personal connection significantly.
Hugely. It's not just a random weird town anymore. It's somehow tied to them.
So the narrator must be reeling after that.
Oh, yeah. And that night, back at the farmhouse, the whole atmosphere changes. It gets heavy, Oppressive is how it's described.
Air thickens. You feel that sometimes in stories like this.
Totally. The narrator can't sleep, just ends up watching out the window, and then they see something.
Outside.
Yeah, just past the tree line. A little girl wearing a white dress.
Okay, a figure in the woods. Classic spooky element.
But it's more than just spooky. There's something about the girl. She looks familiar.
Familiar, like the farmhouse felt familiar.
Exactly. And seeing her brings on this sudden, intense wave of feeling warmth, but also this deep, aching sadness.
Another connection the narrator can't quite place consciously. A child figure often represents innocence, or maybe lost parts of oneself.
Could be. So this is where it gets even more, well, surreal.
I'm braced.
The narrator feels compelled to go outside, steps out into the fog. There's fog now, of course.
Naturally. Adds to the atmosphere.
Calls out to the little girl, but the girl, she doesn't answer. She just turns, looks at the narrator, and smiles. Silently.
Just a smile. No words.
No words. Then she gestures, points back towards the farmhouse.
Okay. Directing their attention back to the house.
Right. So the narrator turns, looks back at the house, and oh man.
What do they see?
Every single window of the farmhouse is filled with faces. Smiling faces. Just watching.
Whoa.
And among them, clear as day, is the older version of the narrator from the photograph, also watching, also smiling.
That is deeply unsettling. A full-on vision. Past and present completely collapsing. The house revealing its occupants.
Yeah.
Memories.
It's intense. Blurs that line between what's real, what's memory, what's maybe something else entirely. A hallucination. A glimpse across time.
Leaves you completely questioning the nature of the experience. What happens after that? Do the faces attack? Does the narrator run?
No, it's stranger. The next thing they know, they're waking up.
Waking up? Where?
On the porch. Morning light. The house behind them is empty again. Silent. Like none of it happened.
Back to normal.
What?
But you can't just shake that off.
No way. It wasn't just a nightmare, apparently. There's this lingering feeling. The narrator describes it as finding a lost piece of themselves, like something fundamental clicked back into place, even though they can't explain it.
That feeling of recovered loss is significant.
Yeah.
It suggests that regardless of the objective reality of the vision, it served a purpose for the narrator, emotionally or psychologically. Something was reintegrated.
Yeah, a profound internal shift. So eventually they leave Hollow's End, get back to their normal life.
But you sense it's not really over.
Not at all. The experience just stays with them. They can't forget it. And the reminder.
Let me guess. Tapping.
You got it. Every now and then they still hear it. Softly. 3 knocks.
Wow. Just like the first time. A constant echo.
A constant reminder that some places and maybe parts of ourselves we thought were gone, they don't really forget. They linger.
That recurring sound is such a powerful symbol. It anchors the whole experience, suggesting the connection to Hollow's End, whatever it was, persists. It wasn't just a one-off event.
So the big question remains, right? What actually happened in Hollow's End? Was it like a glimpse into a past life?
Or maybe a deeply buried memory surfacing in a very unusual way, triggered by the place itself?
Or is it something weirder, something about the nature of time or reality that we just don't have a framework for?
This story really pushes those boundaries. It challenges that idea that memory is just, filed away neatly in our brains.
Right. It suggests maybe memories can reside out there in places, in the walls of an old house, waiting.
Exactly. That our personal histories might be more deeply interwoven with the environments we encounter than we think. Certain locations acting as conduits, perhaps.
Holding on to echoes, resonating with bits of our own forgotten pasts.
Precisely. It's a fascinating, if slightly unnerving, possibility.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Have you, the listener, ever felt that? Gone somewhere totally new, but felt this weird jolt of familiarity? Like you've been there before, even though you know you haven't.
Could that feeling be more than just coincidence? Could places actually hold on to those echoes? And could those echoes somehow be calling back to pieces of our own lost histories?
Something to definitely ponder. A little unsettling maybe, but fascinating.